Hello there, Sonia here from Rainbow Balloons, and welcome to the balloon twisting tutorial that I'd like to share with you today. Now, I had a request from a friend of mine, Jerry, this is for you, to recreate something I'd done for a balloon sculpture in the past. Now, I had a client who was requesting something for her father's 70th birthday, and he was quite heavily into golf. So I came up with a design which included a golf club, not rather unlike this one. What's a bit more different is the technique which I've used to create the club of the golf club. I'm not really a golfer, I'm not au fait with all the terms, but this part features something called balloon distortion. Now, you may have heard of distortion before, or even indeed used it yourself, but if it is a new technique for you to try, this is a great way to experience it for the first time and hopefully fall in love with it. It adds a great dimension. In this instance, we have it as the golf club. I recently also use it for bunny rabbit ears. You can do it for dog ears as well. It's the shape that just gives you a lot of ideas just by looking at it, I'm sure. I'd love to hear any things that you think it could perhaps be used for. Now, before I go in and show you how to recreate a golf club not quite unlike this one, just thought I'd talk a little bit about balloon distortion. So again, you may have already been using this or seen it featured in other artists' work, but balloon distortion occurs when we do things to the shape of or to change the shape of the original balloon. So in this case, this is a 11-inch chrome round, and now it's not looking very round at all, is it? So the 11-inch has been distorted by having a 160 inserted inside during the creation process. So distortion's occurring when we're creating a different shape than what may otherwise be created when just simply inflating a balloon. Now, let's get into it. Now, in this tutorial, we are using the beautiful Qualitex chrome balloons. This is the 11-inch round. Here is a scrap piece of the 260. Now, I use the scrap because I only really want to use half of it to make a shorter stick, but you could go ahead to use a long one. But it's a great way to use up some of those scraps. And a 160. Now, the colour of this doesn't matter so much because of the opaque nature of the chrome balloon. We're not going to see it on the inside. Now, what we're going to do is start off by inserting the 160 into the 11-inch round. What I'm doing here is folding it over, not in half, but it's kind of, the length I'm kind of looking for here is to be able to insert it into the 11-inch round until it touches the bottom. Now, you might like to do it perfectly in half, that's fine too, because we are actually going to remove any excess with some scissors in a short while, so it's not too concerning how it is. You might like to, I guess, start with doing it in half, but frequently I do a different measurement, just go by feel, I suppose. But what you are aiming for is to be able to still access easily enough these bits of the 160 that's coming out of the balloon, mostly of course the nozzle. Okay, so with that inserted inside, I'm going to now inflate the 11-inch round. Here I'm going to be using my Legenda, my handy sidekick, which I love, but you can also do this with the regular hand pump. So what I'm going to go ahead to do is inflate that 11-inch round. It's good to be quite generous with the size of this, so overinflating it to the size that you think you're going to need for the golf club or the dog ear or whatever occasion you may use it, but you still want to have a bit of 160 that's sticking out, which is going to enable you to handle it a lot easier. When they start getting caught up in the nozzle, it can get a little bit annoying, not impossible, but you start to feel your heckles raising. What I find sometimes is I accidentally lean on my green button for go as I'm trying to get this on, so do try and avoid that. Okay, you can see the balloon starting to push through here, so that's overdone it just a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead to locate the ends of your 160. You may need to release some of the air out of the 160 inside, just to enable you to be able to find it. Okay, so I've got a grip on my two ends. So the silver, the air inside the silver one's starting to escape, which is fine. And the second half, or the end of the legenda, sorry, not the legenda, the end of the 160 that's inside is about here at this stage, so the air's not all the way to the actual first bit in the 160. So I've got to pull on it a bit to get that excess out. And going ahead to not let any air come out of the 160. Flatten that a bit, and you can start to see the shape happening. So the 160 is starting to come out the nozzle part of the round, which is great. It helps to give it a little bit of shaping. And the inflated tail end, of course not all the way to the tail, but the air that's inside, we're just pulling that part of the balloon just to make it be pushed up more against the first part, so bending around in a loop. And just what I'm doing here is tying double knot to try and ensure, of course, that air inside is not going to escape. Meanwhile, all the air has now departed the round, which is great because we don't need it anymore. Sayonara. Now, here the shape is looking pretty decent, but you can go ahead to manipulate it if you think it needs a bit more shaping. As golf clubs tend to look this shape, I think we're getting onto a winner. Oh, puppy dog ears. Wouldn't that look great on a headband? Oh, bunny rabbit ears, even better. Oh, what a great idea for a next tutorial. Okay, I'm going to go ahead to use my scissors to remove that excess. Hopefully you've tied that knot well and none escapes, because yes, that has happened to me before. And you're like, oh no, why? Okay, so going now to the scrap chrome balloon that I prepared earlier, I'm going to go ahead to inflate that. When I'm inflating these chromes, what I like to do is do a bit of stretch inflation so that the shape of the balloon can be distorted in a bit of another way, where it might start off more like a 160 in shape and then go to the 260. So I've talked a little bit about that technique before, and we really want to use it to our advantage with this one. It can taper the end of the golf club a bit as well, which is nice. But what I'm going to do is place it on my legenda nozzle. Nice and secure. I'm going to pull one end taut and then inflate. Now this end bit that I'm pinching in as I let it go, sometimes the air rushes in, which is great because that creates a taper. It doesn't always happen though. In fact, this one's starting to look a little bit more narrower than a 160. At any rate, what we want to have is enough to, of course, tie it off, but we want to be able to do some pinch twists in there. So I might even let a little bit of air out of that one, just so I feel confident I'm going to have enough room to make a couple of pinch twists. I'm going to go ahead to tie that off. And I'm going to start off by doing the pinch, well, actually what I think might be better is tying it to the nozzle end of this one here. Imagine showing up in your golf club did that one day. So we're going to go ahead now to create the pinch twist. I like to start off with two. And I'm going to wrap them together and pinch. And then I like to do a third one just to give it more stability. think this needs just a little bit extra firmness in between the golf club itself and the handle. So I'm going to maneuver that around a few times from my pinch twist. To help ensure that's a much more snug and secure fit. And now we have a bit of an interesting shape on the end of our golf club, which I don't dislike. Like I said, I was hoping for it to be distorted. Sometimes it actually doesn't have that little dip in the middle there, so that's something you can experiment with. Anyone for a round of golf? Being a bunny. A bunny's a fun idea, I think. But there you have it. There's your golf club. So Jerry, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it's of use to you and anyone else. And if it's your first time giving distortion a go, I wish you all the best. So thank you so much for watching and have a great day. See ya.